Welcome to the Bumblecast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Kraus.
Wake up, Ian. Chop, chop. We got a
I'm
show
awake.
to do.
I'm perfectly awake.
I mean, you're about as awake as I am, probably, at this point. Yeah. We won't dwell on that too much, but let's just say things are going on, so yay. We have many questions, lots of questions, and we have many answers prepared for them, maybe, depending on what the questions are.
And those questions come from our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/bumblecast, ko-fi.com/bumblecast, and our YouTube members.
Yes, they do. Let's not waste any more time and just get into it. This one here is from Aiden7478. Did you have any plans for the Anarchy Barrel Bomb E107 Theta, the Elemental War, and Nagas with 3 emeralds that was mentioned / shown in 30 Years Later / issue 235? Those small tidbits of the past drove my teenage self crazy like you would not believe.
Then they worked as intended.
Except you never followed up on them.
Well, no, and there really wasn't much intention to do so, to be honest.
Didn't think so.
Part of the fun of these what if futures with the big old time gap is to say, oh yes, all these exciting adventures happened before. Woo! And I had an idea for each of them, to be sure, and they could have fallen anywhere in the main timeline or in like a flashback in the future stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was wiggle room to play around with it. I knew what I wanted to do. They weren't just empty words, but they were also backstory to an alternate future that, you know, we could maybe get back to at some point, and then come to find out, Sega really didn't like that idea anymore, so we couldn't touch it anymore. So, yeah, they fell by the wayside. But you know what? Might as well just toss that into the pile of stuff that'll be in Lost Hedgehog Tales. Why not?
Yep, at this point, might as well. All right, here's a question from Alejandro333777. Do you think the Chaos Force will ever be explained in the games? I assume that's how Chaos uses his powers and would love to see that established.
The Chaos Force is not canon. It was a thingy of the pre-reboot Archie and nothing else ever since.
Alrighty, well, I guess that settles that. Here's a question from Alpha Mono Yukin. I know you may not like this character, but I can't help but want to see how you would handle this task if given the opportunity. So my question is, if you were tasked with making Chris Thorndyke, and possibly his small circle of friends, an interesting / more useful support character, how would you accomplish this? Pretty sure we've done this before, but hey, I don't know. Have we talked about how you would integrate them into IDW or any of the modern stuff? Maybe not.
I think we've toyed with the idea, but to make them a regular supporting element, I don't know. I'd have to go back and see what I said before, but at the moment, I'm drawing a blank in terms of useful supporting character.
Yeah.
Useful in that would be an ongoing companion to Sonic and help facilitate his adventures, like with an additional ensemble cast. I don't know. Like Chris and everybody else in his circle, they work well enough as background human characters within the human setting. And Chris himself, you know, as much as I've flanderized, oh, I hate that child, he's not unsalvageable. He's perfectly fine in his core elements. He's workable, easy, no problem. But as like an ongoing regular supporting character like Tails or the Chaotix or Tangle or any of them, I don't really see it unless you like upgrade them to kid geniuses with gadgetry that allows them to keep up with Sonic, and then that feels really tie in Saturday morning cartoony and on all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
Then it starts to smack of the kid companion that, you know, hangs out with the licensed characters, and I always hated that as a kid. What's the name of that one kid in the old Turtles cartoon?
I don't even remember.
You know who I'm
I don't
talking
know
about,
if I.
right? That whiny kid who dressed up
Yeah,
in garbage to look like a turtle and was like,
yeah,
I want to be the fifth turtle. And they're like, yeah, okay.
yeah. I'm
I
thinking.
hated that kid.
I'm also thinking of the kid from the Transformers cartoon G1. It's like, why is this kid here? Why is he just a kid in a mech suit or whatever? And goofy. It's like,
It makes him relatable. It's the window for the children. No, the children don't care
the children don't need
about
it.
other normal humans. No, we want to see the badass Ninja Turtles. We want to see the robots
Yes.
turn into cool things and go driving. Pew pew.
We want to see the Fast Hedgehog and the other cool characters. We don't need a Chris Thorndike-esque character. He's not necessary.
Now, if they were like an established contact in like Station Square, a regular supporting cast for that region,
that could be one
maybe
thing.
there's stories to be built around that. But as like ongoing, recurring tales like companion, I'm not seeing it myself.
Nah, I don't think so. All right, and we got a question here from Andrew D. If Mechasonic Mark II was on Scrapnik Island because it was the remains of the Death Egg, then how did E-117 Sigma and Mechaknuckles end up there? And why wasn't Mechasonic Mark I there?
All good questions, which I do not have canonical answers for, and honestly, I would defer to Danny on that. If he has thinking behind it and that's something he wants to explore, by dingy, let him do it.
Let him cook. In a good way, not in a bad way.
I mean, by the same token, the egg carrier crashed off the coast of Station Square. That doesn't seem to be anywhere near the island and the crashed Death Egg with the Scrapnik. So how do they get that? Maybe maybe all these things washed over. Maybe there is a very large magnet somewhere. I don't know, but it might be worth exploring. It might not be. It might just be fine to say they're there.
Rule of cool is what I'm going to say. Like, I mean, might as well put them there because where else would they end up? Here's a question from Ann Tails. Hey, Ian, I know you don't generally enjoy human/Mobian ships. I'm in the same boat, but my one exception is Rouge and Topaz from Sonic X. They have such a good dynamic. What are your thoughts on the Rouge/Topaz ship? Thanks.
I mean, I get it.
It's funny.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Odd couple. Opposites attract, good cop, bad cop, or not really. She's not really a cop. I don't know. Rouge kind of plays all sides. So one day she's a cop, one day she's a crook. And Topaz is much more by the book. So that right there is fun. It's a fun, diametrically opposed, and yet they go together like chocolate and peanut butter type of pairing. I get it.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know about in terms of ships, but I mean, as a fun duo and a fun combination of characters and personalities, it's a fun time. I like it.
Now, Topaz is someone I wish we could kind of bring back as
Yeah.
like a face for Gun and as a good character, someone that the heroes can liaison with.
Mm-hmm.
I could see her functioning way more than Chris, but
Yeah. All right, we got a question here from Oz Jam. A common criticism that I see brought up in stories I enjoy is pacing, whether it's too slow or fast for what is happening in the stories, where the ideas are great but feel off due to the pacing. Personally, I have a hard time with this as I hope to create stories, but fear about the pacing of it may affect the information that I want to tell the reader without coming off as too informative but also too vague. So I ask, what do you consider the best way to handle pacing in storytelling, and what are some stories you feel best handled their pacing, as well as some that are or at least have moments of being handled poorly?
I don't think there's like one magic bullet to solve this. But
it
to
really
me,
goes based. I would say it's like depends on the story, honestly.
Yeah, but to me, if I was approaching a project and seeing how it all falls apart, it's how much. Number one, how big is the project? How much material do you have to work with? Is it in terms of episodes, minutes per episodes, seasons, issues, page count, whatever? How much canvas do you have here?
Yeah.
And then what are the limitations of that? Like, again, with the episodes, you have this many to work with. These episodes are this many minutes to work with, or you have this many issues and each issue is this many pages. That gives you some finite, concrete boundaries to work within. And then it's like, okay, well, if I know that I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and I know I have this much time to do it, then I need to establish this by this point. It has to resolve by this point, and here are all the key points I want to hit along the way. How does that fit? And that's a very, very broad approach, to be sure, but it helps make it more manageable, to me at least, to compartmentalize it, to section it down, to butcher the animal for serving it up, for lack of a better analogy. It just lets you see where your pieces are and where you can place them. And in that regard, too, when you're looking at your individual beats, you can see, where they are in relationship to each other on your timeline here. It's like, oh, this is the big revelation at this point, and I still have 6 issues before the climax?
Uh-oh.
That might run out of steam. Or, I need to establish this bit of information to justify the climax. Oh, shoot. I have 2 pages to do that right before it happens. Need to adjust that, don't we? I would also say that if you're worried about establishing information too light versus too heavy, don't fall into the trap of setting up the clever long con. And I'm guilty of this myself. Make sure that you tell a coherent, straightforward story as it is, and then go back and see if you can add little twists and turns and window dressing. Make sure your core narrative is at a good pace and it goes well and it goes where it needs to go, where it goes, and then see where you can pepper it and spice it up. That's the best I can think of just in general recommendations. In terms of who did it right and who did it wrong, I know there are a ton of examples and I am just blanking right now.
Well, I don't know if I can help you. Should we move on?
Yeah, because I'm just going to be sitting here spinning my wheels going, well, I kind of remember this show. Did that do it well or not? Let me replay the whole thing in my head and see if it comes about right.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have time for that, Ian.
No.
Oh, well. Let's go ahead and move on to this question from Batman69 LOL. What if Blaze and Silver overshot their destination in Sonic 06, landing them before the events of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, and they take Sonic out before ever meeting Eggman, and for whatever reason, Blaze and Silver stay in that timeline and take Sonic's place? How different would the classic game stories be? How would Sonic's friends Tails, Amy, and Knuckles plus Eggman stories be? This is like a whole entire rewrite of the whole series.
Oh, the free. I mean, Eggman's not going to stand a chance against the two of them. He had enough trouble with a guy who rolls and runs. Now he's dealing with a lady with zero compunction about stomping his face in and setting him on fire.
Uh-huh.
And a good boy who can grab that wrecking ball first stage and just start bopping him with, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself.
Basically, it's like one game and Eggman just gives up. Oh.
And if we're talking they specified Sonic 06, so Silver is out for blood to protect the future.
Yeah.
Whether he can or not is debatable, but, Eggman, bad guy. Maybe Silver doesn't pull his punch. There goes Eggman. Okay, that was a short franchise.
You don't need Eggman. I'm just kidding. You kind of do. Kind of an important ingredient. This is no longer Sonic the Hedgehog, basically, is what I'm getting down to.
I mean, if they do get to Sonic 2, I can see them being similarly nurturing and inspiring to Tails.
Right.
But once you get to Sonic CD, do they go home? Once they get to Little Planet, do they grab the time stones and say, job's done. Boop. Go back.
Would Silver just pull the Death Star out of the sky and crash it into the planet? Death Egg? Did I say Death Star? I meant Death Egg.
Same thing. Just Whatever. One has a mustache.
One is an egg. One is a star.
And neither is a moon. And
that's no moon.
I mean, we get to let's just say, for the sake of argument, we get to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, You know, that first time Knuckles shows up to bop him, maybe he gets a sucker punch in and scoots off. But every trap after that, they can disarm it before he can even utilize it.
I mean,
You get to Hidden Palace Zone, he comes gliding in to punch you in the face, and Silver's like, it's no use, and boop, he's gone.
pretty much.
Grabs him mid-glide, just kind of hula hoops him out the door.
If they even get that far before just dispatching Knuckles permanently, like, yeah, basically Blaze and Silver would just absolutely wreck everything, and it would be glorious. It would ruin everything, but it would be glorious.
I do have to wonder how Silver would operate in a classic game setting. Like Blaze is fine. That's just the rush games, more or less.
Essentially.
You know, one button to jump, to glide, to axle spin, and then maybe the B button is boost. Or if not, then you're not really losing a ton of movesets for it. But Silver, how do you operate his whole gimmick of grab and throw things? Glide and float and stuff, sure, that's no problem. But how do you do the physics engine nonsense
Not on the Sega
on a
Genesis.
one button system?
Well, you don't do a one button system. I'm gonna say that. Too complicated for that. I mean,
I don't know.
you could try it,
Mania
but
makes it work real well.
I
and-
mean, even Super Mario Brothers has
Chaotix.
2 buttons.
yeah, well, we're talking about the superior game series here.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know, man. I'm not a game designer. But what I do know is we got this question here from Bumblebee. If Blaze is an alternate dimension Sonic and Marine is an alt Tails, will we ever see an alternate Knuckles or Amy with elemental powers in that world?
I don't think it's wise to say that Blaze is the alternate Sonic and Marine is the alternate Tails. There are parallels, absolutely, but aside from Blaze going fast in the Rush games, she isn't really Sonic by any approximation.
And
She's a guardian.
Yeah.
She's self-serious. She's apparently she isn't like actually Sonic fast. It's just her fire powers are able to propel her to that speed. So I hesitate to say that it's just alternate versions because I feel like that just loses something for the characters as they are. I think they're stronger as, I can see some similarities, but they are wholly their own unique characters. You don't have to be trapped in the idea of, okay, if Blaze is the Sonic, then who is her Amy? Who is her Knuckles? Who is her Eggman? It's there's a particular term I want for this, and now I can't think of it. But that being said, it would be fun to expand upon her extended cast. See more characters, play with some archetypes, and see how they bounce against her. But I wouldn't want them to be Blaze's Knuckles or Blaze's Amy, if you get me.
Yeah. I don't necessarily care for having the one-to-one sort of thing, because Blaze is in herself not really one-to-one with any of the main universe characters. So here's a question from Burning Saber. Does Sonic's world contain the concepts of Infinity and Omega? I mean, there are people named Infinite and Omega in that world, with the respective symbols associated with them, so it should be correct to think so, right?
Yep.
Sure. Maybe. Don't think about it too much. Here's one from Butter Noodles. King DDD and Eggman swap for a day. What happens? Well, I think Sonic and Tails make a new friend in King DDD. And Eggman unveils dimensional horrors that he has never seen before, and he's seen some stuff. But I think he might go a little too far.
I mean, Day-to-Day coming into the Eggman Empire and not really being used to all this machinery and being a little intimidated.
Yeah.
But wait, he has command of vast forces and, you could cause some trouble with this. This could be fun. That's when Orbot and Cubot show up and it's like, hello, no boss. Would you like a foot rub and a sandwich? And Day-to-Day's just content.
Yeah.
He's good. He's going to relax. He's done.
Yeah, he's fine. I was going to say, he makes a new friends. Sonic and Tails.
Like Sonic shows up and he's like, I thought there were some problems. No? Oh, hi, vaguely penguin guy. What are we doing? Showing out? Cool, I'll join you. And that's it. They're good buddies now.
Yeah, exactly.
Eggman would be infinitely frustrated by the lack of infrastructure in day-to-day establishment. Like, the most advanced robotics thing you have there is like Shatsos, maybe Kablooa. What is he supposed to do with this? They're still using pulley systems for Asimov's sake. And maybe he hunts down the MacGuffin of rainbows and light that just happens to some of the eldritch horror of the abyss. But I mean, Kirby's going to step in and, stop it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's behind it. I would give a pretty penny to see what Eggman's soul looks like. And additionally, what Kirby would look like after he swallows Eggman. Like, clearly he gets the mustache, but does he get like a little red coat? Does he get little goggles? Does he get an adorable little laugh? I want to see this.
All right, here's one from Chaos Sonic 1. I've been rewatching Turnabout Storm and Elements of Justice, both My Little Pony and Ace Attorney crossovers, and I have to ask, while there's been request for MLP and Sonic crossovers, what about an Ace Attorney and Sonic crossover? That would be
Objection!
Fun. That would be fun, but I don't know how you would do it.
My client is accused of stealing this Chaos Emerald, but as this footage clearly shows, there is a black and red hedgehog in possession of said emerald. My client is as blue as my suit.
Of course.
And then Edgeworth, before he can even think of a counter argument, is bowled over as the gun truck comes through the courtroom.
Someone sues the truck. Oh boy. Oh boy. I would love this, but I don't know how it would work.
I don't know how much mileage you could get out of it, to be sure, but
yeah,
you could have fun with it.
I mean, you bring back Sally McAcorn. Why not? It would be weird, but I don't know how to do this. But if you have any ideas of how to do this, hey, leave them in the comments below. And hey, you might have a little bit of time right now because we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Bumblecast.
Our ad comes from our longtime patron, Daniel H. He says, "Good day to you all. I'd like to do some signal boosting for Miss Jordan. She's raising money for her transition, but also to move to a more friendlier city or state. Click the link to her GoFundMe page to learn more. If you can't donate at the time, share her page around if you please. Thank you for your time and be well." Check the description of the video below for the full link to her GoFundMe.
We're back. We got a question from Cody G. Knuckles has his fist replaced by Glover and the Hamburger Helper glove. How does he adjust to 1, fingers in general, and 2, sentient hands? To clarify, he has no control of his new hands unless they allow it.
Fun fact, Knuckles doesn't in fact have fingers.
We
did get that clarified internally.
He does?
Yes, so he does have fingers underneath. Okay. He does.
Okay. Discord glitched out when you said does. So I was like, oh no. Oh boy. Okay, good to know then, I suppose.
So overall, I think he'd be okay with it. I mean, Glover is a virtuous, heroic glove, and Hamburger Helper glove can make food. He likes food. So he might be content to let them kind of do their own thing. But when he wants to go punching and they're like, no, not in our faces, he can say, well, you may control the hands, but I control the arms.
That's right. He's going to get into a slap fight.
I mean, he will punch through his wrist if he has to, and they're just along for the ride.
Yep. Well, apparently you have just ruined Sonic with the Knuckles fanfic that you're putting into Sega's mouth. I mean, Ian didn't ask the question. Let's be fair here. All right, let's move on to the next question. This one here is from Conga. In my question about the roboticizer, you missed robotomy treatment. The list was pretty long, so I forgive you. Anyway, it comes from a video from Force's promotional material called Come Join the Eggman Empire, implying that whoever turned themselves in or was captured has been turned into a yellow bowling pin. With what you said before, the roboticizer itself probably not appearing by name or by deed in the game canon. Could this be a potential name for it, or does the fact that it is only mentioned in promotional material discredit it?
I'm disinclined to count it as canon because it is promo material, but it is also official to a degree. So if that were adopted, like if I were told this is how we're doing it, this is the official reference now, I know where it's coming from, and okay, we'll roll with it. But I'm not going to hang my hat on it myself.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's a question from Domino. You've stated previously that Sonic is all ages media, so how likely do you think it is that we'll ever get Sonic content that is geared towards a more mature/adult audience? What mature themes would you personally like to explore in the Sonic universe?
I would not. I don't want this to go anywhere near that territory. Let it be all ages. Let everyone enjoy Sonic.
I mean, it sometimes skews a little dark as it is. I mean, it's not always like it's not super happy rainbow fun times all the time.
No. Like Sonic 06 and Frontiers is about as mature themes as I can see it going.
Yeah, and maybe things like characters like Whisper and stuff who are kind of
you can still approach mature concepts and adult themes in a way that is accessible to everyone without having to get into the territory of blood, sex, and violence that is more equated to mature audience material.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that works with Sonic. I don't want it to go to Sonic. I want this to be something that everyone enjoys. And if you are an older individual and you want to see that sort of thing, there's plenty of fanfic out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let the kids have something, let the families have something, let the general audiences have something. There's that kind of stuff other places.
Yes. Yeah. Here's a question from Dove. You've found the Master Emerald from the films. You can go super-ish and create things from nothing. What do you do with this new power? What do you create? What do you destroy? How is Kyle finally stopped when he tries to take over the world? Because he obviously would.
Kyle, stop it.
What?
Stop it.
No, I would do nothing. I'm too lazy. I'm like Orbot over here, you know? I mean, I'd be, or maybe like Sonic, like I just want a chili dog, you know?
Me? You're gonna unlock God mode no clip for me?
Yeah.
I'm changing the world, buddy. I am ending world hunger. I am cleaning up waterways. I am undoing pollution. I am providing as much as fast as I can to as many as I can.
Yeah. Would you change anything about Sonic? Like the franchise, the series, the property?
I'm going to have some other priorities in this scenario.
I was figuring I was going to say, like, if you got the power of a demigod, would it really matter to you if Sega said that there was a mandate that Sonic can't cry? No, not really.
Like, maybe after I've achieved world peace, I can take a break and go back to the Sonic lore. But
I'm being asked if super states mean you could change copyright laws. I don't think that's how that works.
Well, I mean, if we can summon food from nothing, then I suppose I can form legal documentation from nothing and
I suppose
destroy the originals, because who's going to stop me? I am a golden god.
No copyright law in the universe is going to stop you. You just keep blasting until it's fixed. See, you're the one who's more dangerous with this power than I am.
I just want to help, that's all.
I know. I mean, I would probably do a lot of the same things too if I really could. But, you know, I feel like I would need someone to like direct me. So maybe that could be you. If I get the power, I just do what you tell me to do. Or something. I don't know. I'll figure something out. We got a question here from Philip is Cold. I tried that pants thing Ian recommended, and I'm not a fan. I mean, big mood. Yeah. You should be giving out better recommendations. Yeah, well. Anyways, on to the question. In Sonic Adventure, Froggy slurps up some delicious Chaos Soda and gains a tail. Later, he's submerged in Chaos 6 and loses his tail once the Chaos Soda returns to the rest of the beverage. Chaos 6 then gains their own tail. If the Chaos Soda inside Froggy were to return to any of the other forms of the child, like Chaos 0 or 2, would these forms gain a tail? Is this the true form of our favorite living carbonated beverage?
Number one.
Is Chaos carbonated?
Like there's bubbles. I mean, so I guess.
Maybe. Oh.
If you didn't like the pants thing, and I get it, try a large, snuggly blanket. You keep complaining about being cold. Do something about it. As for the tail, by the logic that's presented in the game, yeah, Chaos should have a tail at any of those forms.
Yeah.
And once returned to normal, Chaos 0 state, he should have the tail. Never mind that it was established via Froggy, but, Chao have tails. Chaos is a mutant Chao, ergo he should have the tail. Although by that extension, he should have wings too.
I mean, yeah.
I just counter-argued myself in the same sentence. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Here's a question from Hip Kid Brick. With how Sonic and the Black Knight adapted the Sonic cast to a medieval fantasy setting, the Arthurian legend specifically, but let's go broad, if more were to be added, including the IDW cast, except for Big, because Big is simply Big, what fantasy tropes or even specific characters do you think they would inhabit?
My first inclination would be to fill out the Knights of the Round.
Yeah.
With the extended cast, but I am not super familiar with the Arthurian legend off the top of my head, so I don't feel like I can just do that here now off the cuff. If we're talking broad medieval fantasy, Tangle's a bard.
Oh no! Give Tangle an instrument.
I mean, it constantly breaks because she's flinging herself into various things, but, stretch the tail taut enough, she can strum on that if she needs to.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose like a rogue.
I imagine rogue or like a wandering magic knight with all the wisps floating around her.
Maybe.
Like maybe the wisp on is a sword that gets enchanted with various things. Right? If anyone's going to have the discipline to be a magic knight, it's going to be Whisper.
Yeah. Maybe some kind of I don't know. I mean, you can multi-class, I suppose.
Clutch I could see as being like the corrupt mayor of this small hamlet that the party happens upon after their initial D&D run.
I figured it'd be like the leader of a criminal underworld, just the same thing he already is.
Mimic. I mean, he could look like a chair. He could look like a treasure chest. Those things are all over the place.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Is this
I see Jewel as a shopkeep, dealing in rare but magnificent items.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. We've already got Tails as the blacksmith and Amy's Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
Surgeon Kit.
And I would be real. Yeah. She's the Green Knight.
Or Starline.
Going around just asking to start a fight. And Kit would be her odd water summon companion. Starline, he's some kind of evil necromancer apothecary type guy.
Yeah.
He's wearing the Plague Doctor beak and he takes it off and he's got another beak underneath it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorely tempted to cast the Babylon Rogues as like a Robin Hood XP, but Jet was already Sir Lamorak. It's like,
Yeah, we can't really change that too much. What about Lanolin?
She is a noble woman of a small shire who is just real tired of all these knights and wizards and monsters and stuff tearing up the countryside. Could we just get things to settle down? Have one solid harvest this season, please?
And it never happens. Oh, no. And then Belle. What is Belle? I mean, there is a version of automatons in certain fantasy realms.
I mean, I was kind of toying with the idea that Eggman was Merlin in this incarnation, because they don't have to be 100% like their standard characterizations.
Yeah.
And so he retired, and Belle is his personal homunculus summons project thingy.
Let's say Belle is a warforged. She's built.
Yeah,
She's a robot, effectively. A magic robot. And Mr. Tinker is Merlin.
They live very peacefully in their little tower out in the middle of the enchanted woods. And,
yeah.
You know, oh, have you seen his granddaughter lately? She did what?
Yeah. I'm down. This is great. This would be fun. I think that's all the characters, really. So that's good enough for now. Yeah, that's good enough for now. All right, here's a question from Ichigo Laser. If you had the ability to revisit or somehow bring back the storyline from one of the games back to the comics, what would you pick? As in retelling, remix, sequel, etc. You have free reign. Of course, mine would be the storybook stuff, since I feel it's also unexplored.
I've wanted to basically just retell the modern era and like direct to trade stories for a while now.
Yeah.
Like just rebuild that storyline as faithful as possible. Some modifications have to be made for the format, but just tell Sonic's legacy up to the point of IDW. You could go for years. In terms of sequels or remixes, I wouldn't want to approach the storybooks myself, especially Black Knight, because I don't think I could do anything better to them. They're just good as they are. I mean, maybe Secret Rings, a little tinker here or there. Maybe there's some more concepts within the 1001 Arabian Nights that could be explored a bit more. But Black Knight, that's kind of on the pedestal. I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to adapt it. It's just good as it is.
Anything else?
Not really. No, I mean, as much as it would be nice to go back and like refresh these older stories and make them more cohesive overall, I also see the appeal of just continuing to move forward.
Yeah. I get it. But at the same time, it would be nice to go back and put all this stuff into some kind of at least semi-coherent storyline. I don't know, man. We do have a question here, though, from Illegal Chow Fights. In Sonic Adventure 2, displeasing Omochao will occasionally make him say, "If you don't stop, I'll get mad. I'm going to tell my mom on you." This is the only time, to my knowledge, that Omochao has ever been referenced as having a mother. Is Omochao a filthy liar attempting to intimidate the player at this horrifying prospect? What are your thoughts on this? Were you aware of this obscure piece of trivia?
I really want them to introduce Dr. Necessity. She is the mother of invention.
I was going to say Mamo Chow, but...
Ooh, that's terrible. I love it.
I had a feeling you would.
It's been so long since SA2, I don't remember that line myself. I just remember him getting really pissy and like, "Hey, quit it. I'm not going to help you anymore," as, you know,
yeah,
he's smoking and tottering through the air because, I shot him as Eggman and Tails. I don't remember the mom line, so I'm inclined to think it's just kind of a jokey line, but, you know, stories have been built on less, so maybe Mamo Chow is out there.
Good old Mamo Chow. Oh, no. Here's one from Jams. How often is Team Dark sent to Guns HR, and why?
Well, number one, they don't officially work for Gun.
Yeah.
And number two, they're not human, so why should they answer to human resources?
They're off the books, man.
Yeah.
They got a license to kill. I'd assume. I'd hope. I
See,
mean,
this is why I want Topaz back. She could be like the handler for Team Dark,
yeah,
the liaison.
exactly.
She just gets called into the commander's office, and he's like, "So, 40,000 in collateral damage. I take it. I'm sorry, sir. I'll explain, please. At least 20,000 of that was from a jewelry store that is now conveniently empty. I know. I'll talk to her. I'm sorry. Also, Shadow has not responded to my Facebook friend request. I'll get right on it, sir.
Why do you want Shadow to be your friend so badly?
Well, he feels real bad about that whole pointing a gun at his head thing.
No. Oh, well, it's too bad Shadow still uses MySpace, so. Man, that was a long pause, but it was worth it.
That's the lag speaking, not me.
I know, it's very laggy. I know. Oh boy, I don't know why there's so much lag between us. It's terrible right now. Oof.
Have fun editing this one.
Big oof. Here's a question from JJ Slider. I want to know if the end is infinitely stronger than Sonic's past foes, rather than status as the actual concept of infinity, referring to my second question in the February 26th Bumblecast.
I think once you get to that level of power, trying to quantify it is not really worth it. Suffice to say, the end was one of, if not the strongest villain Sonic has faced.
For now.
Like, maybe you could say Dark Gaia with the whole planet destruction thing is comparable, but, or, you know, Time Eater can reshape time, Solaris can reshape time and reality, blah, 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 blah. But the end is an extinction level event in and of itself. So it's pretty high tier.
All right, we got one last question, and it's from Levi C. Now, since IDW Sonic issue 57 is out, can you give us some fun facts about Lanolin the sheep?
Oh, sure. Lanolin, from the Latin lana and for wool and oleum for oil, is also called wool yolk, wool wax, or wool grease, and is a wax secreted by the sebaceous glands of the wool-bearing animals. Lanolin used by humans comes from domestic sheep breeds that were raised specifically for their
Ian, I don't think this is what they're talking about.
Well, they said lanolin.
They
said sheep.
They're talking about the character of Lanolin, the sheep, in the comics.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, that rings a bell. There happens to be a Wispon.
That's a fun fact right there. What about more fun facts? Is there anything we're going to learn? Is this like knowing Smile territory?
I mean, she's as an active character, she's brand new, so I don't want to get too into it, but I would say that she's like 90% Adam's creation, Adam Bryce Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, he made the initial nameless background character that everyone was like, oh, she looks so cool, and he just kind of played with it, and then she just kind of kept showing up in the background because people liked her, and it's like, well, she's getting attention, maybe she needs an official design. Okay, she's got an official design now, well, let's actually do something with her. So Evan and I worked with him a lot on how she would look and what she would do, and I forget who came up with the Bell Wispon idea.
It's a cool one. I like it.
He had a few ideas on that, and just very big brainstorm and jam session between all three of us. But I would say, like, out of any of us, Adam is the proud papa of Lanolin.
Very good, very good. I like her. I'm looking forward to more. Speaking of, though, unfortunately, there is no more of this Bumblecast. You'll just have to come back on some other day and listen to more.
But before we go, we need to give a big thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com/Bumblecast, Ko-fi.com/Bumblecast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Jennifer R., James K., John B., Robotnik Home, Sam Cybercat, Samuel P., Torchbound, Mike B., Andrew D., Dave M., Saluchacat, J. Frost, Coupland Crew 128, Noni, Hero of Light 13, Professor Scruffy Matt, Chris A., Sony, Triforce Riku, John M., Sonic, Scurvy Pirate Hog, Jib, Ben Wolfsbane, Lisa M, Lee HK, Arcfire Chevelle, Keeper of Monsters, Axis, Twilord, Xanderoni the Painter, Z Broadcast, Chaos Sonic 1, Starlight Sec, Tick Tick, Jonathan D, The Disgayan, Ink thinks the name is X, Cameron H, Solaris Stain, Nimric, Godzilla, Nondel, Jolene B, Yuma221, Ava Arctic, Dove, Justin Mountain Soul, Justin S, Nova Poly Duo, Daddler the Dalek, Alex GS, Sonic Legacy, Jennifer H, Pedanti Cat, Les, Red the Super Namek, Alphamon or Yukon, Joshua S, Omega Watt, Jack the Animator, Mancher, Jay the Redneck, Of the Stars and Tails, Derucival, yes, Jinzel, Preston M, Wildcard 717, Indabin, Sammy S, Noah M, Kojiro Highland, Awesome Cakester, Supersonic Fan, Miles the Prower, Navarre, Excel, Agent Kaz, Ratry, Sonic 84, Puppy the Scholar, Chase L, 4 Sonic Fan, Tetsuya the Wise, Rhythm Raccoon, Wheelie Doe, The Marble Gardener, Aiden S, Oz Jam, Shimmy M, Curly Quills, Angela V, Smiley 21, In Zephyr, Sterling Sonic, Philip is Cold, Conga, Windskull, Supernova, Superior Pizza, Sonic Padge, Subliminal, Miggy Sawdust, Thickoff, Crooker, Vlad, E200 Paragon, Razor, The Crucified Devil, Loop De Loop, Omega Man 21, Thievius, Dominic the Raccoon, Planet Breezy, Unity, Kedrian, Lori L, Jason S, Cody G, Michael P, Nils, Illegal Chow Fights, Sir Needlemouse, SB, My Fish Eats Rocks, The ID Card, Phil C, Jonathan F, Hip Kid Brick, Levi C, Amazon, Samuth Star, Dead Air, OK Cheesestick, Adrian W, Zaylock, Nebula Noob, Lacey M, Lucky Lychee, Spiral, Knuckle Samish 87, Tetsu Knife, Raccoon Shinobi, Normal Person, Marcy H, Caswell, Mr. Murder Bird, The Giant Murdering Bird, M Bluette, Native Nerd 27, Miles Full Prower, Ultra Guy, Crowbo, Salato 02, Noob 600, Sonic Mania 2099, Hedronus, Pele, Tenderheart Fawn, Quizel J, Guts, Johanna S, Snow Pear, The Man of Multimedia, Fluffy 93, Ms. Snippy, Jamal S, Wheels 282 Hedgehog, Metamode, Frost the Hobbadon, Danny the Light, Butter Noodles, Miles Prower D, L Technopada, Razor, Sun Blister 16, Travis H, Tyler Renee M, Liam B, Saturn Flicky, Scourge Time, and Sonic Man.
Thank you, everybody, for your support. You are all amazing, and I love you in a platonic way. So thank you.
Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the Bumblecast.
Take care.
Quiet, Yoda.
You've been listening to the Bumblecast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. If someone gave you $1 billion, what kind of podcast would that be? None.
The last one.
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
This Bumblecast Maxi is brought to you by somebody with way too much money.
Uh-huh.
Thank you all for supporting the show, and here's a long list of people I'd like to say fuck you to before I go off and buy my own island.
There he goes. He said